Batman, The Shadow #2, Steve Orlando and Scott Snyder writing with Riley Rosmo on art. The art is very good. My same complaint about the Batman's ears being far too small do continue, but other than that, the art is pretty damn nice throughout, so
Yeah.
I can't complain about that. So this is basically Shadow playing with Batman's head a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, I knew who you were because I helped train you." Like the idea, because obviously he's a master of disguise, he puts on different faces. The idea that at one point he was Ducard whilst he was training Batman, which is kind of weird because
Yeah.
it's like it's not just a crossover. It's like, oh no, the Shadow was always part of Batman's world. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, although I feel like he's clouding Bruce's mind
Oh,
as he's
probably.
saying that.
Oh yeah.
He's putting the doubt there, and so, but probably my favorite moment of this issue is where Batman has this fight with him, and they sword fight in the Alps, and then he ends up back in Gotham, and Alfred calls him Master Bruce, and he's like, "Don't call me Master. That's what the Shadows people call him, and I don't want that."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I dig that. Yeah, I had more fun with this one. I like the last issue a lot. I like this one quite a bit. I like basically they figure out that the so it's was it the Stag who's the arch
the
nemesis.
Stag, yeah.
Yeah, of the Shadow, who the Shadow kills like the worst people of society. Like that's his mission, his goal ever since he like get taken over by this. And the Stag does the opposite. The Stag is this evil presence who goes after the best of people, and that kind of ties in with that first issue because we see this guy who works at Arkham. He's nice to everyone. He is like the perfect person, and he gets killed.
And we had found out that it wasn't the Shadow. The Shadow was there at the wrong time, and so Bruce thinks that he killed him because he's the detective, and he's like, "Your eyes are lying to you. There's bigger things going on than what you know."
Well, because I think clearly the Stag also has similar like abilities to the Shadow.
Yeah.
It seems. I'm not super familiar. I don't think because I've seen the movie. I don't think he was the villain in the movie. I think it was
No, Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn.
Genghis Khan. I
No,
think.
Shao Kahn's.
That's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. That's Mortal Kombat.
But no, so basically they find out there's like 3 people who won this like Gotham City prize for excellence and being like a stand-up citizen. There's one left alive, and it turns out to be Leslie Tompkins, who of course not only would Batman save anyone, but it's Leslie. It's someone who's got a personal connection with him. So he goes to like save her, and the Stag shows up. They have a bit of fight. Leslie gets shot, but it's not really Leslie. Leslie's actually somewhere safe. This is the Shadow who's taken over to make sure. I really like this fight as well. Like I said, the art's really good. There's a lot of good sense of motion in the fights.
Yeah.
Especially when the actual Shadow kind of like black clouds start to come into things. Like I think that's really fun. But the
Shiwan Khan. That's who we're thinking of.
There we go.
Yeah, I know. It's
not Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn.
Not Shao Kahn. Shiwan Khan.
I got really excited at the end of this issue because basically the Shadow. But which, by the way, I love that the Shadow's speech bubbles are square. It just it gives you this sense that he has a really different like a presence, like he has a different kind of voice that doesn't feel normal.
Well, and they said that when the Shadow talks to you, you can hear the laughing in your head, and it gives it when it pairs with the laughing and the square, it really stands out.
Which is really funny because earlier on, back when they're in the Alps and the Shadow disappears and you see all the laughter, all the ha-ha-has like around the page, I thought, oh, that's funny, that reminds me of the Joker.
Yeah, right?
And, sure enough, at the end of the issue, we actually tie that back in. And I really like this. I like this tease where this is going because basically the Stag, uses evil to do what it wants because it wants to, achieve its goal. And Batman's like, well, if it wants to find evil in Gotham, there's one place it's going to go. And I'm like, I know what the next page is going to be. And sure enough, it's the Crown Prince of Crime. The Clown Prince of Crime.
Prince of Crime.
Yeah, Crown. I can't speak today.
So here's the thing, is
although,
Stag...
admittedly, I do think the Joker's face looks a bit weird. So
yeah,
I'll criticise that. But otherwise, I did like the art.
So here's my big thing there is... So the Stag wants to kill... It needs one more, the Shadow said, to enter... What is it, Shambhala?
Shambhala, yeah, that's where the power comes from, yeah.
Yeah. So, is he going to have the Joker kill someone else? Or is he going to have Joker lead him there? I'm confused as to how he's using Joker.
I don't know the answer to that, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think we'll find out next issue.
Okay.
I don't think something to concerned about yet.
Because if he's there to kill the Joker, he's not doing it right. Like that's
I think he's going to use the Joker either to kill someone, like you say, or
Yeah.
taking the Joker to wherever will help give the entrance kind of thing. But no, I was really pumped up at the end of this issue. I thought that was a really nice tease. And it's really nice that the first issue was all about establishing who the Shadow was. Batman was hunting him. And then the second issue, it establishes who the big bad is. And then also that the big bad from Batman's going to come into play as well. As like a, So it's like, it's that kind of thing when you do a crossover. You don't just cross over the heroes, you cross over the villains.
Right. Well, yeah, and it has that dichotomy here, too. As we get the Shadow's villain, like you said, and Batman's villain. And that's what it's all about. It's how they work and whatever else that we saw. Because we also saw them go back to the Shadow's people, and then we kind of get Bruce's people. So I'm sure they'll cross over too at one point. Like we'll get Alfred.
Alfred might meet them. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, it's so everything's hinted. But yeah, it's real enjoyable. I put this off to read to last just because I wasn't sure if we were covering it again. But I'm glad that I read it because now I'm fully invested in the story.
Well, like I said last issue, I was really I went into the first issue last month feeling like I don't know if I'm gonna like this, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I came out being like, it was actually pretty fun. Again, Batman's cool, not feeling the Joker's face, not really feeling, but otherwise I think the art's very good. Obviously, those are just stylistic decisions that were made for some reason that I'm not agreeing with, but otherwise the art's pretty damn solid.